Even if the danger is no longer there, your body never forgets. And especially if the traumatic event happened repeatedly, it gets to rewire your brain. And the moment it rewires your brain, the stress response system, that is the HPA axis, becomes dysregulated. And your body now has to learn that survival mode. You are always on the fight, flight, or freeze mode. So the reason that all this is happening, especially if those traumatic events happened in the childhood and you've not healed from it, you might find yourself even as an adult having those trauma response behaviors. Like your body is still scanning for any danger, even in a safe space. So for us to understand today's topic, which is trauma response behaviors, it's better for you to get to understand what trauma is all about, especially the psychological trauma and childhood trauma. If you understand those two, which I discussed in the previous videos, you are able to get to connect with this. So let's start. Trauma response behaviors. Number 1, perfectionism. This is where we strive for flawless performance, like no mistake at all. We set very high standards for ourselves, and if we don't meet that, we self-criticize. And these people perceive themselves as very high achievers or even workaholics, So where are these coming from? They are coming from this kind of parents who are very critical and very demanding. And the moment, especially the authoritarian and helicopter parenting, the moment your parent is all over you and for you to perform, you must make sure you meet their standards. The child now has to learn to be perfect and to avoid any criticism. They have to learn that earning the love from the parents, because the love they are getting is so conditional. So this child will grow up exerting all the control over themselves, and they make sure they survive in this chaotic world by just performing very highly. So their acceptance is based on their performance, and that's the idea they put in their minds. Number 2, attention seeking or people pleasing. This is where we seek external validation and approvals for us to feel safe. We prioritize other people's needs ahead of our own, and we avoid conflict. And we cannot even set boundaries with anyone, because how else are we going to make them happy so that they love us? And where is this coming from? It's coming from neglect, abandonment, abuse back then when you were a child. So you have to be good enough for people to love you, for them not to abandon you, and for you to feel safe, even if you are in an abusive setup. Number 3, avoidance. Here you withdraw from situation, people, things, as long as they trigger those traumatic memories. And some people even detach. And this is also where the attachment develops, the avoidant attachment. As long as a situation was once very threatening, and then when you avoided those situations, you felt safe, you will continue avoiding it until it becomes part of you. So where is this coming from in childhood? Let's say an overwhelming event happened, and then at that time, you are afraid of re-experiencing that event. But then, over time, you learned that avoiding those situations and to make sure that you are not also near the people who are involved will prevent the traumatic event from happening. So you will continue because it's working for you. But then, the only disadvantage is it will be okay just for a moment, temporarily, but it's not solving the whole problem. You are just okay temporarily, and then the problem is still there. Number 4, hyperarousal or hypervigilance. This is where you are always on edge. You're always scanning for any danger, even if you are in a safe space. So where is this coming from in childhood? It's coming from that, like the exposure to chronic stress, you are in a space whereby people are fighting all the time, or you don't even know when is the next time you are going to be safe, or you don't even remember when you are in a safe space. So that gets to rewire your brain in a way that your brain always knows like you are not safe anywhere. So you adapt that, you learn that until even when you are in a safe environment, you still be very vigilant and you always scan for any danger in your space or in your environment. Number 4, emotional numbing or dissociation. This is where you feel detached from your body or even from your emotions. We call it flat affect, whereby you are just numb, like you're not feeling anything about anything. Or maybe you check out mentally. This happens, let's say back in childhood, if the situations were too intense, the traumatic events were too intense for you to even get to understand, or for your body to even get to cope with it, or for your emotions to even get to comprehend what that means to you, then you learn how to like close yourself out for any other thing that is coming to you. It's like you having a shell whereby when you are in danger, you just block everything. So this is also something like that you learned back then when you were a child and exposed to very intensive traumatic events, that you have to now learn how to block those things. Number 6, self-destructive or impulsive behaviors. This is whereby you have to do things to redirect your pain to something else. The pain is there, but instead of facing it, you have to do other things that you feel pain about instead of the original problem. So how do people do this? By engaging in those risky behaviors. It could be self-harm, substance abuse, those disordered eating habits. You enter into those relationships that are so destructive. Like even if you are being mistreated, you better feel that than the original pain that you are going through. So what's happening back in childhood? You find that the intensity of traumatic events are too much for you. So you tend to numb emotionally because of the pain. And for you to now redirect the pain, you have to do all those self-destructive behaviors, or we even call it self-sabotaging. So you try to make sure you unconsciously seeking a familiar kind of events that can help you not to remember the actual events, but at the same time, the actual painful events are still there. You still remember, especially if you are not doing these destructive behaviors. For example, if it is alcohol, you are drinking, but then after some time, it will be over, but the problem is still there. So you find that they just do this temporarily, and in the long run, the pain is still the same. Number 7, control or anger issues. This is where you have to respond by fighting. And if the stress is too much, you would want to have the dominance, because you want to fight back. And some of the ways we do this is by being quick to anger, or we think this kind of behaviors are the one that help us win the situation at that moment. Where is this coming from? It's coming from a childhood where you learned that fighting back is the only option, whether physically, whether verbally, and you make sure you do that to protect yourself. So the moment you learn this, being powerless or feeling powerless to you is a threat on its own. So you make sure now you have to fight, even if it's like a perceived danger. So most of us are there, and this is the time actually we need to look into it, because if anger issues are coming from a trauma or a traumatic event that once happened, then whether it is the actual kind of danger or whether it is a perceived danger, you always find yourself in that mode. And that behavior can also lead you to many other destructive behaviors. Number 8, inability to trust or struggling in relationships. This is where you find yourself like it's difficult for you to form a secure attachment. It's difficult for you to interact with people without not trusting their intentions, And where is this coming from? It's coming from that family that once gave you a safe space. You once trusted them and then they betrayed you. So the moment the betrayal happened, you feel like anytime any other person might betray you. So in the process, you have to make sure you have to now guard your trust and make sure you scan for intentions, whether these people are supposed to be trusted or not, for you to feel safe. It can also happen in relationships whereby if once infidelity happened or this person, you trusted them once and then once they break the trust, then it's not easy for you to trust them back, but it's possible to gain that trust once again. So it can happen back in childhood, and it can also be an event that can happen just anytime within your life. All these trauma response behaviors that we just discussed are not character flaw. These are behaviors that once felt safe for you. You are in a situation that you had to do them, you had to adapt them for you to come out of that event, for you to survive it. So something that was once a survival is now still being part of you. You understand? So it's not something that is really, really bad or out of this world. It's just something normal that is also okay for you to heal from them, because some of these behaviors can be very destructive and it may not also help you in the long run. So it's better for us to heal from them, and it's better for us to also understand where they are coming from and at what point did we started having this kind of behaviors. The moment you understand, you understand your life better. Let's say back when you were 2-3 years, what was happening? You are able to understand where some of your behaviors or the current behaviors are coming from. And the moment you understand that, it's better for you to handle them. Or if you have a therapist, they can help you explore all these trauma response behaviors, and they're able to also help you how you are able to cope with them. And instead of just focusing on the behavior on its own, they can help you to redirect it to more healthier ones. Also learn self-regulation skills, whereby if you are feeling certain kind of way or your emotions are getting out of control or you're overthinking, how can you get in tuned into your body and mind to the point that you are able to understand exactly what's going on? And if you write them down, let's say journaling or just attending to those emotions, then you are able to handle them. Or you can also use sensory grounding, whereby you can look for 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can touch, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. So the moment you try it, actually this is also good for anxiety issues. The moment you are having, or the worries are too much, or the anxiety are leading you to something else, or even dysfunctions, you are able to reground your sensories back to normal. Or even you can count from 100 to 50 or 100 to 1 or Z to A. That is for anxiety. But if some of these trauma response behaviors are also leading to feeling of anxious or anxiety, then you can also use it to help yourself. So for now, we can stop at this point. Thank you so much. We can stop at this for today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share this video to someone who might need. And this is the space where we move from survival to thriving. And we do this by learning and healing. So you are not your trauma, you are just a survivor.